Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Ramo Rajamanis Sada Vijayate Ramam Ramesham Bhaje Ramena Bihata Nishacharachamu Ramaya Tasmai Namaha. Ramannasti Parayanam Parataram Ramasya Dasosmyaham Rame Chittalaya Sada Bhavatu Me Bho Rama Mamuddhara Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Satgurum Brahma Vidwaram Satgurum Brahma Vidwaram. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. The Mangalacharanam of Ishavasyopanishad is Purnamadaha. So we'll chant it in the beginning of every session. Invoking Bhagwan's grace, seeking the grace and blessings of the Rishi of Ishavasyopanishad, to whom it was revealed. Rishi's name is Dadhyan Atharvana Rishi. It is said Upanishads should be studied seeking their grace and blessings, in particular of the Rishi, to whom these Upanishads were revealed, because it is their sampatti. Sampatti means their wealth. So if we have to benefit from it, we have to seek their blessings, that may this knowledge open up in our minds also. So seeking that, we'll begin the study of Ishavasyopanishad. Before we enter into the Upanishad or the Mangalacharanam of this Upanishad, we should look back again at Vedas. Something that you have already seen while doing Pramana Vichara. What are Vedas? What is the nature of Vedas? Because Ishavasyopanishad is part of Veda. It is part of Shukla Yajurveda. And within Shukla Yajurveda, it is Kanva Shakha. There are two recensions which are available today, Kanva Shakha and Madhyandini Shakha. So Ishavasyopanishad belongs to Kanva Shakha. In both recensions, Ishavasyopanishad comes. In Madhyandini Shakha also you will find Ishavasyopanishad, but the mantras are slightly different over there. And Bhagwan Shankaracharya has written commentary on the mantras which come in Kanva Shakha. Vedas, as we had seen earlier, Vedas are means of knowledge when it comes to two things. Whenever we have a question about dharma, or when we have a question about Brahma. Atindriya Vishaye Vedaha Pramanam. Atindriya Vishaye means there where our sense organs cannot go. Atindriya, that which is beyond sense organ. In those areas, in those matters, Veda will become our main means of knowledge. Atindriya Vishaye Vedaha Pramanam. Now, which action I should do so that I will get a particular result. That kind of knowledge is not known through sense organs. For example, it is said, if you do one kind of homa, one kind of yajna, one person will get good health. If you do another type of homa or yajna, that person will go to Swargaloka. Now, if somebody has the desire for good health, has desire for Swarga, what should I do such that I get it? In those matters, we cannot have our own ideas. So those things which are beyond our sense organs, there this Pramana, the valid means of knowledge, will be Veda. But when we say dharma, it also means different set of do's and don'ts. Even in worldly terms, even if you see in the world, we'll notice that what I should do, what I should not do, that I myself cannot decide. Somebody else has to decide. When we join a new workplace, I say, I will set my own rules. I say, no, day one only they give this packet of do's and don'ts, orientation packet. Means dharma is always decided by somebody. So when it comes to our life, what is a set of rules to be followed such that we can live a happy life? That is also taken from the Vedas, or Vedas are the Pramanam when it comes to dharma. When it comes to Brahma, nature of that absolute reality which is beyond sense organs. What was the word for beyond sense organs? Atindriya Vishaya. Indriya means sense organs. Atindriya means that which is beyond sense organs. So when it comes to Brahma, that absolute reality, whom sense organs cannot reveal. So the valid means of knowledge to know Brahma becomes the Veda. So majority of Vedas will talk about the previous portion, dharma. And there will be one portion, it's a very small portion, which will talk about Brahma. We'll see that later, but first it is important to appreciate that Veda is Pramanam. Pramanam means without that thing, we will not get the knowledge of that object. Sometimes if we have this idea, all paths lead to the same goal. Study of Praman Vichara should make us think again. If we make that statement, it is just like saying, you see a form. What is the Pramanam to see a form? Eyes are Pramanam. Pramanam definition you remember, right? From Praman Vichara. Pramayaha asadharana karanam. That instrument without which knowledge of that thing will not take place. That is called as Pramanam. So to see form, eyes are the Pramanam. And if you say, even if you close your eyes, still the knowledge of form will take place. Or use it for other sense organs. Even if you close your ears, still knowledge of sound will take place. How absurd it looks. So if you close your ears, how will sound be heard? Means if you remove Pramanam, how are you going to get knowledge of Prameya? If means of knowledge is removed, how will the knowledge of that object take place? Just as it cannot take place for sense organ and the objects of each sense organ, over here also knowledge of Brahma cannot take place without Pramanam, which is Veda. That is one facet of Upanishads or Veda. Upanishads are part of Veda. That is why we are discussing this Veda Pramanam. We'll come to Upanishad part also, but Veda in general, whenever we think, this reverence for Veda should come, that what I am seeking is happiness in life. And the Pramanam for that absolute source of happiness is Upanishad, that is Veda. Second facet of Veda it is apaurusheya. It is not a composition of human intellect. It was not composed by a particular person. It was revealed to those who tuned their mind to seek this absolute truth. Gurudev would explain this in simple words. He would say, who authored physics? Who authored physics? It's not one person. Those scientists who thought about physics in a single pointed way, to them this reality of physics, the truth of physics, was revealed to them. Just like Newton discovered law of gravity. He did not create law of gravity. Like that, this absolute truth is ever existing. That was revealed to a rishi who meditated upon that particular truth. So this is the second facet of Veda, which is apaurusheyatva. That is why we cannot even put a comma in any Veda mantra, because it is not paurusheya. If there is a apparently grammatical error in an Upanishad mantra, we cannot correct that particular Upanishad mantra, Veda mantra, because grammar came after Vedas. So Panini Maharshi, the grammar of Panini Maharshi came much later than Veda mantras. So they need not conform to the Vyakarana of Panini Maharshi. That is what we call as Chandasa Prayoga. Chandasa Prayoga means Upanishad Rishi has used it in that way. Panini Maharshi's Vyakarana is applicable for all later texts. If we make grammatical error, it is not called Chandasa Prayoga. Chandasa Prayoga is Upanishad Rishi composing in, or not composing, who got revelation in that particular way. Why we are discussing this is, in Sanatan Dharma, or when you look at Indian school of thoughts, Ashtika is somebody who believes or takes Vedas as Pramana. General meaning of Ashtika is what? One who believes in God. But according to Sanatan Dharma, in terms of philosophy, darshana, Ashtika is somebody who takes Veda as Pramana. There could be somebody from Purvamimamsa Darshan who doesn't believe in Ishvara, but takes Veda as Pramana. They will fall under Astika Darshan. The rishis who were doing tapasya, and Lord Shiva addresses them in Upadesha Sara. What is the first verse? Kartuhu ajnaya prapyate phalam. Karma kim param karma tajjadam. Means Lord Shiva is telling, you all are doing these karmas and you feel karma alone can give the result. How can karma give the result? It is inert. Kartuhu ajnaya. There is a karma phala data who is there, without whom you cannot get results of karma. So he's addressing those darshanikas, those philosophers who are from Purvamimamsa Darshan, the Karma Kanda portion of Vedas. They have so much of faith in karma. They say karma alone can give all the results. Why do you need another karma phala data? So this is the darshanika way of looking at it. Who is an Astika? Astika is the one who takes Vedas as Pramana. Now, as I said, Vedas, they will have majority portion of rituals. So if you divide the Vedas, they'll be broadly divided into three parts. One part is called as mantra portion or samhita portion. Mantra or samhita. Gayatri mantra, Purusha Suktam, Rudram and Chamakam that we chant. All of that is part of mantra portion of Veda. Means if you are doing Rudram chanting, Vedo Nityam Adhyatam is already happening. Chant the Vedas every day. Bhagwan said that is our first sadhana. Gayatri mantra somebody is chanting, that sadhana is already happening. Second portion is called as Brahmana portion. First portion is mantra or samhita. Second portion is Brahmana. How to use those mantras in rituals? So one thing is to chant Purusha Suktam, and in a yajna to use Purusha Sukta mantras. That elaboration is done in Brahmana portion. And the third part is Aranyaka. Aranyaka includes all subtle upasanas. Aranya means a forest, those practices which are done in a forest. Meditation techniques with form, with some support, that part is called as upasana. First one is mantra samhita. Mantra or samhita. They are not two different things. Same thing given two names. Either you call it as mantra or you call it as samhita. Second one is Brahmana. And third one is Aranyaka. What about Upanishad? Upanishad is not the fourth part. Upanishad is the essence of entire Veda. And it can come either in mantra portion, or it can come in Brahmana portion, or it can come in Aranyaka portion. Imagine if majority of mantras within that mantra portion are talking about karma-kāṇḍa. And one part is Upanishad. There is a very good chance that somebody might say this Upanishad is also mantra part. You don't have to understand the meaning of these mantras, Ishavasyopanishad sarvam. In between a yajna, when you get time, just chant Ishavasya. Your mind will become calm and you will get a break in between. That is going to be the introduction. Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji elaborates why these mantras are not part of the Karma Kanda portion of Vedas, which we will see later. But broad classification if we have, then we will know which Upanishad we are studying and how it fits into the bigger picture. Okay. Now when we come to Vedas, Vedas generally talk about two paths. Two paths. We are familiar with the names, but we have to appreciate the context in which both of these words are used. One set of words that is used is the path of karma and path of jnanam. Path of action and path of knowledge. Two paths. One path is path of action, another path is path of knowledge. Another set of words that is used is path of dharma and path of Brahma. Path of dharma, path of Brahma. They are the same. Don't think they are different things which are being spoken about. What is meant by karma and jnanam is the same what is meant by dharma and Brahma. Third set of word is abhyudaya and nishreyasa. You all have heard these words, right? Somewhere or the other. Bhagavad Gita introduction, Bhagwan Shankaracharya uses these two words, abhyudaya and nishreyasa. The last one is preya and shreya. Preya and shreya. Now, one thing to note here is when we say preya, when we say abhyudaya, when we say dharma or karma, they are not talking about pleasure directly, or they are not referring to only pleasure. Generally, how do we translate preya and shreya? Preya is the path of pleasure and shreya is path of good. Preya is that karma which is done with dharma, and he is seeking some worldly result. That is called as preya. The one who is going after preya is not an indulgent person. He is a hard-working person, does lot of dharma, and ethically he is able to get things for himself. But why is it called prayer? Because it is something of this world only. The seeker whom Bhagwan Shankaracharya addresses in the first verse of Bhajagovindam, Nahi nahi rakshati dukrun karane, samprapte sannihite kale. Now that seeker is not an indulgent person. He is a great acharya of Sanskrit. Remember the introduction of Bhajagovindam, right? There was a elderly person who was standing upside down and memorizing grammar rules. Now one who is able to do that is not an indulgent person. But Bhagwan says, if you make secular goal alone as the support of life, secular knowledge alone as the goal of life, that will not save us in the time of difficulty. So it is important to appreciate the word pray also. It is not talking only about tamasic person. It is talking about somebody who is very dynamic, but he has made goal of life as this world. Now for us to come from tamas to rajas, 96% of Vedas need to talk about this topic. And very small portion talks about Jnanam. Jnanam part is the knowledge part, knowledge of that absolute reality, which is beyond this world. Which is beyond this world. Which is also known as Brahma. Seeking that Brahma is also known as Nishreyasa, which is also called as Shreya. 4 terms we saw, 4 pairs we saw. We should just appreciate the seamlessness in all the terms. What is called as karma means some action which is done with dharma, which brings abhyudaya. Abhyudaya means material prosperity with lot of peace and happiness in life. Remember, person who is unethical or an indulgent person can never have abhyudaya. So Vedas are talking about Preya also. They are talking about happiness in this world with ethical life and dharma. So that is one portion of Vedas. And another portion is the Jnana portion. Jnana, which is also called as Brahman. Seeking that is called as Nishreyasa. And what was the last one? Shreya. Seeking that is also called as Shreya. Now this is where the percentage comes. What is the percentage? It is said in Vedas, the mantras that are available to us is roughly around 100,000. 100,000 mantras are there. Out of that, 80,000 mantras. 80,000 mantras are for rituals. Means which part of the Veda? Mantra part, Samhita part, and Brahmana part. Ritual part is that also, right? So both together, you can say around 80,000 mantras are for that. 16,000 mantras are for Upasana. 16,000 mantras are for Upasana, means Aranyaka part. So 96% of Veda is talking about ritual and Upasana. And 4%, 4,000 mantras are for knowledge part. What does it indicate? For this, we have to look at Bhagavad Gita chapter 2. What is the perspective Bhagwan Krishna has towards this 96% of Veda mantras and 4% of Veda mantras? Second chapter, 41st verse to 45th verse, 41 to 45. Bhagwan says, Vyavasayatmika buddhihi ekeha kurunandana. Although there are so many things mentioned in Vedas or they are mentioned because we have so many desires. Goal of life should be only one, and that is to seek moksha. Vyavasayatmika buddhi. Whatever he does in life, he takes that as his main goal and is working towards that goal. And if we get stuck in just seeking results of this world, kamatmanaha swargaparaha, what is the result of that? We'll get a beautiful result. He says more births. Janma karma phalapradam. Don't get carried away by all the promises which are given by these karmas. Now, some of them are promises given by Vedas themselves, and many of them are promises that we seek for ourselves. That if I do this, this thing will happen. If I do that, that thing will happen. Or if this particular thing happens in my life, everything is good thereafter. That is bahushakahi anantascha. Means so many desires have been fulfilled, but desires have not come to an end. So Bhagavan says, Arjuna, traigunya vishayaha vedaha. That is this verse. Whatever Vedas can give, in the 96%, there will be something of this world only which have these three gunas. Nistraigunyo bhavarjuna. Set a goal that doesn't fall under these three gunas. That is Bhagavan Krishna's advice to Arjuna. For that purpose alone, this entire Bhagavad Gita is elaborated. Although majority mantras are for karma. He says, end of our journey is not in karma. End of our journey is in abidance in Brahma. Nistraigunyo bhavarjuna. Now somebody will have the question, if goal was not the world, if Bhagavan really wanted us to be Nistraigunya, why so many mantras are talking about karma? You could have more Upanishad mantras, right? Why only 4% Upanishad mantras? Rest everything is talking about Karma Kanda. It is just like when mother has to feed a child. 15-minute story she will tell. Dramatize it, so many things she will do. But what is the main purpose of telling the story? Put that one morsel in the mouth. The essence of the story is not in the story itself. Essence of the story is in that one small thing which comes later. Like this, when Vedas promise different worlds, going to a different place, Tatparya, the essence of Veda, is not in those results. It is just to inspire us to start doing those actions such that we have a beautiful mind. Because Upanishads are also part of Vedas only. This is where Bhagavan Shankaracharya will take topic of discussion. He will say, there are different adhikaris for both. So somebody who is adhikari for Vedanta, he did not again go back to karma. What is the main point we are discussing? The percentage of Karma Kanda mantras are more. It is not to say that Vedas are pushing us into those karmas. Preparation part will be a lot. But the essence is in that final teaching. And look at the beauty of what this Karma Kanda does to us. First thing what it will do is, if somebody does Karma Kanda very well, means lives an ethical life, does everything as one has to do, with life of values, that will bring lot of vairagya. That is the main bottom line of doing karmas well. doing karmas with values, whatever limitations are there in this world, they'll be more clearly seen by that sadhaka. And we have seen limitations in several things. What might be so appealing in the past, today that same thing doesn't appeal anymore. And we must have seen in our own life. If traveling gave a lot of joy before, a point comes where you say traveling is not what I'm looking for. Food gave a lot of joy. A point comes where we say food is not the main source of joy. Means some kind of shift has happened in our thinking. Right? In several things, that is how we have grown. This is that kind of parikshanam, analysis or inquiry will happen through this dharmic way of life. Second is, lot of emphasis will be given on life of values. Means somebody who is unethical. When Mahatmaji would say, an unethical person can never be spiritual. Although spirituality is not only ethics, right? Spirituality is not only do's and don'ts, living life of values. But somebody who doesn't have it can never enter the later part. So for that is this initial portion of Upasana, initial portion of Karma Kanda. Look at Bhagavan Krishna's mastery. In Kali Yuga, to do the karma or rituals which are prescribed in the Vedas, it is almost impossible. Means you might appreciate somebody doing it, but given the lifestyle that we have, for us to do it, it is almost impossible. If somebody else eats, our hunger is not going to go away. So if we appreciate there is somebody who is doing all these rituals in the traditional way, they might get punya, their life will be happier. What about us? So Bhagavan says, in today's time, how can we transition the same teaching of Karma Kanda along with devotion such that it brings the same result? Bhagavan says, I will give this teaching in Bhagavad Gita. That is a portion of Karma Yoga. 96% of Vedas, Sarvopanishado Gavaha. Dogdha Gopalanandana. He took the essence and gave us this teaching of Karma Yoga. He said, living your own life, whatever karma you are doing, do that karma with Yajna Bhava. Indraya Swaha, Bhagavate Namaha, Idan Na Mama. Don't get attached to anyone. Don't get attached to anything. With that, keep doing your karma. Bhagavan says that will become Karma Yoga. Have an altar to offer. Gurudev gives a beautiful example. He says, if in olden days people used plow for the field, if your production has to increase, you cannot use the same plow. You have to use fertilizer, you have to use a tractor, you have to use more mechanized ways. Like that, he says, in today's world, if you have to apply Karma Kanda, you need somebody like Bhagavan Krishna who can tell us what is the relevance in today's world. And plowing that field is making our mind fertile for that jnanam. How many things did we see as the main part of Karma Kanda? First one was Vairagya. If we have done karmas well, if we have lived a dharmic life, what it should bring us is dispassion. If I am getting more and more attached through my karma, I have to again sit down and reevaluate. Second one was, having done that karma, living life of values. Third one is this Karma Kanda also includes Upasana. And that Upasana is our strength. We have several strengths. physical strength we have, intellectual strength we have. This is the third type of strength called as upasana balam. For physical body, we say to digest the food, we should have good metabolism. Food might be great, very nutritious, but if our metabolism is weak, that food is not going to nourish us. The metabolism needed to digest Vedanta is upasana. Upanishad mantras, Vedanta might be very great, but if our metabolism is weak, then that upasana or that Upanishad is not going to benefit us much. All these things together, when it is done, that sadhaka, 4% is more than sufficient. Gurudev would say the first mantra of Ishavasya is sufficient to give moksha. We don't need quantity of mantras. It is just opening the knot of our heart. What all things did we see so far? First, we saw nature of Vedas, Apaurusheya, and that which is Pramana. That is the first topic we saw. Then we saw 2 paths, 4 different terms we saw. Karma and Jnana, Dharma and Brahma, Abhyudaya and Ishreyasa, Preya and Shreya. You can add one more also if you want. Pravrutti and Nivrutti. See, the reason of seeing these terms is we might have seen them individually in different places. And when many terms come, we feel they're talking about different things. But really speaking, they're talking about the same thing. And thinking about the seamlessness gives a lot of clarity in how they are talking about the same thing. So if this is the 2 paths in the Vedas, then we saw the percentage. 96% talks about pravrutti, 4% talks about nivrutti. Why is that so? Then we went into the topic of what does the pravrutti part do to us? What does the karma kanda do to us? Brings vairagya, ethical life of values, and upasana balam. Everybody with me so far? We are just getting into Ishavasyopanishad. Now the word Ishavasya. Ishavasya. So every Upanishad, they don't put too much effort in thinking about what to name this Upanishad. The first mantra is Ishavasya. That's why this Upanishad is called as Ishavasyopanishad. Kenopanishad, the first word was Kene Shitam Padati Preshitam Manaha. So they named it Kenopanishad. So what is Ishavasya? Later we will see. But let us pay attention to the word Upanishad now. Upanishad, we'll just pay attention to that word. It is made up of 3 parts. Upa is the first part, Ni is the second part, and Shad is the third part. Upa, Ni, Shad. Shad is the root word, Upa and Ni are the prefixes. But the beauty is, the nature of the seeker is indicated by the first 2 prefixes, Upa and Ni. And nature of knowledge is indicated by the word Shad. Upa and Ni and Sad, the word which is there. Sad indicates nature of knowledge. Upa and Ni indicates nature of the student. What does Upa mean? Upa means Samipam, going near. When this is the student who has analyzed the world and is going away from worldly pursuit going towards Brahma Vidya, going towards the teacher, and at the same time putting forth effort to work on himself such that he becomes a fit student of the Upanishad. Upa word includes everything. How does he go near the teacher? He said, Durvara samsara davagni taptaha. Looking at this samsara, he has come to a deep realization that no matter what I fix in the world, it is not a permanent fix. In Hindi, they say jugad. Jugad means somewhere or the other you get it working. For now, it is working. How long it will work? Ram bharose. When it will fall apart, you never know. Like that, he finds each and every pursuit of life. No matter which problem it is, which situation it is, he says, for now, if I have done something, even if it is solved, there is no permanent solution. Why is he seeking permanent solution? He says happiness comes through that thing which is permanent. Impermanence is another name of sorrow. That he has realized no promise of this world looks promising to him. All advertisement he sees, buy this thing, transform your life. But internally he knows nothing is going to work. That sadhaka becomes antevasi shishya. Antevasi shishya means one who is able to tune the mind. Antevasa is not location wise and sitting very, very close, coming first to the class. All those things are external. Internal antevasa is tuning one's mind to the teaching and constantly working upon ourselves. That is the meaning of the word upa, going near a teacher. Ni, upasarga, ni prefix means nishchaya, conviction that I am not going back. What I have sought, that thing alone I will attain. Without attaining that thing, there is no turning back. This nishchaya, if it is not there, then any small thing is sufficient for us to turn back. Suddenly you see a lot of Sanskrit. You say, oh, too much Sanskrit. This is not my cup of tea. But this person is somebody who has nishchaya. He says, if for moksha, if I have to study, I am ready to commit my efforts for that study. On that sadhaka, Bhagwan's grace descends in plenty. All Bhagwan expects us to do is put forth your self-effort first. Otherwise, on whom will he shower grace? Whom will he not shower grace? For Bhagwan, all of us are the same. But that sadhaka who puts forth effort, Bhagwan says, he will get my grace. That is this nishchaya. Another meaning of nishchaya is that sadhaka will not allow anything of vyavahara to interfere in his pursuit for Brahma Vidya. He will not allow anything from vyavahara to interfere in his pursuit for Brahma Vidya. This is also nishchaya. What is the example for this? Upanishad. Indra Bhagwan. When Indra Bhagwan goes to talk to Yaksha, Yaksha doesn't even talk to Bhagwan, Indra Bhagwan. But he doesn't allow that part of getting insulted to interfere in his pursuit for Brahma Vidya. That is his nishchaya. And looking at his commitment for this truth, Uma Devi appears in the form of Haimavati. And Brahma Vidya, she gives him this teaching. So Upa means going closer, doing Varanam, seeking this truth. Nishchaya means staying there. Both are important. That I have come here to study, there is no going back now. So Upa and Ni indicate nature of seeker. And the later dhatu, Sad dhatu becomes Shad. Sad dhatu has three meanings. One is in some seeker who has just started, might not be very ready yet. That sadhaka also will benefit. Just by doing Vedanta Shravanam, lot of his samsara will go down. There is a beautiful verse which highlights the importance of Vedanta Shravanam. Dine dine tu Vedanta. Means every day, if you do Vedanta Shravanam, Shravanat Bhakti Sanyutat. Dine dine tu Vedanta Shravanat Bhakti Sanyutat. With lot of devotion and bhakti, if you listen to Vedanta every day, what does it do? Guru Shushrushaya Labdhat. It will bring the grace and blessings of the teacher. Kruchra Ashishiti Phalam Labhet. Krucha Ashiti Phalam Labhet. Krucha means it's some kind of vow, which is done with food. Looking at the phases of the moon, you moderate the proportion of eating. It's considered to be very difficult tapasya. You can only eat 16 morsels on new moon day. And then you have to keep reducing until full moon. And then again keep increasing. If you directly fast, sometimes it's easier. But if you reduce the portion and then fast, that is considered even more difficult. Like this, if you do those tapasyas for a long time, whatever punya we get through that, Kruchra, Ashiti tapasya, that punya we get through Vedanta Shravanam. He says that is this first thing what Upanishad does, it reduces our samsara. And our destination here onwards, either you can take after this physical body or over here only. It takes us to good destinations. Means our mind is led to stronger and deeper places. Same situation doesn't impact everybody in the same way. Situation is the same. We had seen this before also. One flight getting delayed. 10 people are there, all of them react differently. And each person's difference comes from how deep their mind is. So somebody who has studied Upanishads, their mind will be led to a much stronger place. And the third one, for that person who is ready, that person who has done this 96% thoroughly, means one who has blossomed from within. For that sadhaka, Upanishad will destroy ignorance. Right here, right now, first mantra of Ishavasya he heard, job is done. Destroy ignorance meaning destruction of finitude. And abidance in our own nature as that pure consciousness. All of this Upanishad accomplishes for us. What did we see in this part? We saw Upa. Upa means going closer to the teaching and the teacher. Nishchaya means staying there. And Shad is nature of knowledge. It will loosen samsara. It will take us to better destinations. And for that person who is ready, it will destroy ignorance. Now the uniqueness of Ishavasya. One good news is there are few mantras. Only 18 mantras are there, unlike other Upanishads. Kenopanishad also few mantras. But this one is one of the shortest Upanishad, very deep. But in tradition, this is the first Upanishad which is studied. Probably because the student should not run away. If you have, suddenly you start with Brihadaranyaka, which has so many chapters, so many mantras, so many upasanas come. Here the teaching is very direct, very simple also. Puja Guruji taught us this Upanishad when we were studying. And Guruji was having a camp in Vibhuti, Sampurna Bhagavad Gita camp, right after teaching us. I remember on the last day Guruji said, the seed of entire Bhagavad Gita is Ishavasyopanishad. He said, I got to reflect on Ishavasya in brief. Now I'll reflect on Bhagavad Gita in Vistara. So Bhagavad Gita, when we say, Sarva Upanishado Gavaha Dogdha Gopalanandana, all Upanishads are like the cows from which the milk is Bhagavad Gita. The two main cows from which Bhagwan has taken most of the inspirations, ideas. One of it is Kathopanishad, second one is Ishavasya. Two of them, you'll find a lot of echoes of these Upanishads in Bhagavad Gita. Now Shanti Mantra, it's a peace chant that we do before starting any text. So the Shanti Mantra for Ishavasyopanishad or Yajurveda is Purnamadaha. Purnamada you cannot do in 5 minutes. Okay. But let us see the purpose of Purnamada. It is said whichever Shanti Mantra we chant, Mangala Charanam we chant, it has two results. One result is Drishta Phala. Whatever you see, that is called as Drishta. Means immediately that thing will happen. What will happen immediately or what should happen immediately is if you chant sincerely in the right way, it will put us in the right frame of mind. It's like a reset button. Whenever you start any study in the beginning of the class, whatever happened before the class, you should forget everything. After the last Shanti Mantra, we have all the freedom to go and bring it back. And you'll notice you'll benefit the most if this ability we can create. In particular for Upanishad, what happened before, just keep it on suspension mode. And while you are listening, paying full attention to what is being said and sitting with the bhava of studying. Puja Gurudev's commentary is beautiful. One thing he says there is, both of us are students. Both of us are students. Upanishad is our teacher. May we sit with this bhava such that Upanishads start revealing their meaning to us. That is the purpose of Shanti Mantra. If we sit with Abhimana, then these mantras will remain mere words. They will not reveal their import. They will not reveal their deeper meaning. So that is Drishta Phala. Right now you chant, that knowledge or that mind will become calm. What is Adrushta Phala? Adrushta Phala means it will come later. Adrushta Phala is clarity about this knowledge and benefiting from this knowledge. That also comes from Shanti Mantra. Have you seen the types of Shanti Mantra before? I don't think we have covered it. There are different types of Shanti Mantras. One type is called as Ashirvadatmaka Shanti Mantra. Ashirvadatmaka means where blessing is invoked. Disciple doesn't give blessing. He invokes the blessing of the rishis. For example, Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayaha. So that is called as Ashirvadatmaka Shanti Mantra. Another one is called as Namaskaratmaka. Means we are praying to some altar. What is the second Mangalacharanam of Vedanta Sara? Arthato Pyadvayanandan Ati Tadvaita Bhanatah Gurunaradhya Vedanta Saram Vakshe Yathamati. So we are bowing down to the teacher who is Advaya Rupa, who is non-dual in his nature. That is called as Namaskaratmaka. Third one is called as Vastu Nirdeshatmaka. Vastu Nirdeshatmaka means that which indicates the truth. Vastu here means the truth. That which indicates nature of truth as it is. That is called as Vastu Nirdeshatmaka Mangalacharanam. Purnamadaha is not Ashirvadatmaka. Purnamada is not, what was the second one? Namaskaratmaka. It is not Namaskaratmaka. Purnamada is Vastu Nirdeshatmaka. It is indicating nature of truth as it is. More about this Mangalacharanam, the Shanti Mantra, we'll see from the next session. I just wanted to share a few suggestions on how we can benefit more from this Upanishad. So last few minutes I'll take for that. As you know, we don't have slides for this Upanishad. Unlike Kena Upanishad, all the words were separately split. You could just see it, which means we'll have to mark the sandhis on our own. So I hope all of you have a physical copy of the book. Puja Gurudev's commentary, please to get that copy also. And I'll keep referring which portions we can read or read more closely. Everything we should read, but there'll be highlighted portions. Like the introductory part, I think all of us should go back and read. Very beautiful introduction Gurudev has given. So before we start the class, if you can split the sandhis, that would be ideal. Okay. Now if you say, how do I split the sandhi? Tuesday class, Sanskritam is for that only. Or whichever class you are attending of Sanskritam, spending some time before, just looking at what the sandhis are. And if you have the Gita Press book, it will have the Hindi translation also. So you can just read through it. In the class, it is helpful to take some notes. If you don't have any other support, and if you don't take notes, even for the speaker, if you look at the same text again, everything looks homogeneous. So it's good to note few key points. Don't write all the points. Don't write all the statements, all the sentences. Just if you note some key points, what we discussed. Like today we discussed 4 or 5 key topics. Right? What are Vedas? What are the 2 paths? What is the symbolism of the initial part of Vedas? Then we saw, what does the word Upanishad mean? And then we saw Ishavasya, what are the main points? Now, if you just write the keywords, that is good enough to again reflect on it after the class. So a lot of mananam is needed after the class. Before, just skim through it, the previous class. And after, you can just go over whatever we have discussed in the class. Okay. Other than that, we have Q&A also. If you want, you can turn in on the website. There is a link added. So whatever was not clear in 2 classes, that we can discuss, that you can turn in, and then we can again discuss. Okay. And if somebody says, Sanskritam is not my cup of tea, should I continue to come Or is this only if my Sanskritam is good? He says, no. You can very well benefit from this Upanishad. We discuss in English only. Right? Sanskritam is our base. We'll just read the Bhashya part and discuss on that. Just like how we did for Kena Upanishad, same thing we'll do here. We'll look at the summary part of whatever Bhashya we are going to cover, and then look at the individual details in the Bhashya. Okay. Don't get overwhelmed. If you feel Sanskritam is difficult, just pay attention to the main points. Om Purnamada Purnamidham Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri